Welcome back. I'm Brandon, the HBAR Bull, and I watched the digital assets press conference put on by David Sachs and some of our lawmakers. And I just wanted to get some highlights just in case you guys didn't want to watch the entire thing and give some of my takes. So first, let's start off by listening to David Sachs's intro.
The president said in his executive order in the first week that it's the policy of his administration to support the responsible growth and use of digital assets, blockchain technology, and related technologies across all sectors of the economy. And he established an executive branch working group for digital assets, which includes Secretary Besson at Treasury, Secretary Noem, soon-to-be confirmed Attorney General Bondi, Secretary Letnick at Commerce, and all the other key administration officials that have an equity in crypto. And similarly, the SEC has set up a crypto task force led by Hester Peirce, which is also looking at this issue. And together, our objective is to accomplish the task the president assigned for us in his EO, which is to propose a federal regulatory framework governing the issuance and operation of digital assets, including stablecoins, in the United States. I've talked to many founders over the past few years, and they've told me repeatedly that the number one thing they need from Washington is regulatory clarity. They just want to know what the rules of the road are so they can abide by them. We're coming off, frankly, 4 years of arbitrary prosecution and persecution of crypto companies where the SEC wouldn't tell founders what the rules were, but then they would prosecute them. And many founders have even told me stories of being debanked personally just because they had founded a crypto company. All of this approach was driving this important technology of the future offshore, and we want to keep that innovation onshore in the US. Financial assets are destined to become digital, just like every analog industry has become digital, and we want that value creation to happen in the United States rather than giving it away to other countries. This will also, I should add, be much better for consumer protection because it's easier for regulators to supervise an activity when it's onshore. And it's probably not a coincidence that the single biggest fraud in the history of crypto, which was FTX, was based in the Bahamas. By moving the innovation onshore, it'll be easier to separate out the good actors from the bad actors. And we want to encourage the good actors, the innovators, while protecting the market from the bad actors. And I think a market structure legislation with clear definitions and fair rules will do that.
So my take on what he said there, and the whole reason for this press conference is to reiterate their commitment to the crypto industry. It's saying that the United States is open for business for crypto companies. And this is a breath of fresh air, of course, compared to what we've experienced for the past few years. They are focused on innovation and making the United States a hub for crypto. So next up, we're going to listen to some highlights of what the lawmakers said. So these are both senators and representatives from the United States talking about how they're going to move forward in setting up a regulatory framework and legislation for the crypto industry going forward.
I think that we're standing here today at the precipice of greatness for so many kids who are looking forward to democratization, having access points for their families and for themselves that makes it easier and less expensive to do business in this country.
In the 119th Congress, we have a bicameral project for both a stablecoins bill and a regulatory framework that will bring clarity to digital assets in the United States so that we are the land of opportunity, the land of innovation that we have been for decades in so many other technologies. We don't want to be behind in financial technology and digital assets in the United States, but our innovators, as David Sachs reported, need clarity. They need to know what the rules of the road are, and that's why I'm excited to be here today to share this announcement that we're forming a working group on a bicameral basis between the House Financial Services Committee, the Senate Banking Committee, the House Agriculture Committee, and the Senate Agriculture Committee to make progress on that clarity for a regulatory framework and to create and structure a stablecoins bill that will lend itself to advancing America as the reserve currency of the world.
So our goal is to make sure that consumers are protected, make sure that the industry, in order for it to grow and be able to offer all of the things that it does offer to the various disciplines that are out there, whether you're a bank or whether you're investing a client's money for their retirement or whatever, you've got protections, there's structure in it, and it will allow the industry itself, because it is regulated, people can have confidence in that, to grow. It's a little different than our normal situations in the sense we've got these jurisdiction things. So I'm the chairman of AG. Why am I here? Because we have the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, and some assets are commodities, some are securities. So the SEC has jurisdiction over the securities, CFTC has jurisdiction over the other. So the idea that we're working together, again, we've all been working separately. We've made progress over the last several years, but working together now with purpose, and then also having the White House, having the czar over here, again, to visit with him and really set up a structure so that we can get a final structure to make this thing work is very, very important.
What we're doing today is sort of the next step and what will be a milestone, which will be a great accomplishment for our country. America really was a leader when it came to Internet 1.0, right? It was the Internet of knowledge. And the Internet 2.0, again, it was America that led that for the world, not just for our citizens, but for the world. And that was the Internet of things. And then Internet 3.0 is what we're talking about today, and that's the Internet of value. And we're approaching it in a principled way. My colleagues here mentioned a couple of those. Number one, do no harm. Protect consumers, provide that regulatory structure, that certainty, both for the industry, but quite frankly for the consumers as well. And secondly is foster innovation, because the opportunities are unimaginable.
So we're going to get legislation on stablecoins first, and then the digital assets industry more broadly after that. And listening to the entire press conference, it seems like that's going to be a fairly fast process. They've done a lot of the legwork already. So getting this through Congress on the president's desk and signed into law seems like it could happen fairly rapidly. I like how they're talking about making the United States a leader in this industry, and also how they're focused on innovation. The next thing we're going to get into is how they're planning on educating lawmakers and getting this process moving along. They're going to lean on the AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, to facilitate that, but it's also interesting to hear who he's going to be tapping to help us with that education.
But it's exactly as GT points out. We have new members, we've got to do new member education, and so we have to level set here. This is why Chairman Bozeman and Chairman Scott have stepped up digital assets at a subcommittee level to bring members along and do that member education here in the Senate, something that in the House, we had the benefit, obviously of 2 Congresses working on that. So I think a key element now, though, is the education and technical assistance that can be provided to members both in the House and Senate from the executive branch now, as President Trump's leadership posts are confirmed. And key among them is his AI and crypto advisor, David Sachs. And David, would you want to speak to this issue of helping members come up to speed?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what we're here for. And I actually did a session even before the start of this Congress with Speaker Johnson. We did a great sort of open dialogue with members of the House in that case. And I think, part of what we're here to do is provide resources on education. Some of them can be outside advisors, kind of luminaries in the industry, and we're talking to a lot of those people. And then, I'm also available anytime to talk to members about this. It can, crypto can be a esoteric subject, and it is good to explain it, to kind of demystify it, because I think once you understand that, you've kind of got the cryptocurrency itself, like Bitcoin, but then what it really runs on are blockchains, which are just distributed ledgers. It's really a new type of decentralized computing platform, and there's a lot of things that can be built on that computing platform. So in any event, we're happy here to provide those resources to help explain it, both on Capitol Hill and beyond.
So they're going to be tapping industry leaders and innovators to educate the lawmakers throughout this process. And we already saw that picture of David Sachs with Mance at that crypto ball. And Mance and Lehman and so many of the other leaders that we have in the Hedera space are perfectly suited to be educating not just on Hedera, but the broader crypto industry. The final thing that I noted that was a pretty big highlight to me was when they started talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve.
So one of the things that the president instructed us to do was to evaluate the idea for a Bitcoin reserve, and so that is one of the things. That's one of the first things we're going to look at as part of the internal working group in the administration. So as soon as we get all that set up, we're still waiting for some cabinet secretaries who are on the working group to get confirmed. So we're still in the very early stages of this, but that's one of the first things we're gonna look at is the feasibility of a Bitcoin reserve. I think the concept of the sovereign wealth fund is a little separate.
So yes, he mentioned a Bitcoin strategic reserve there and not talking about some of the other cryptos. I think we got our hopes up way too high. It wasn't a super long press conference, but he talked about a lot there. So it doesn't mean that they're still not looking at other assets as well for that strategic reserve. But let's be honest, we got exactly what we want. We're getting that regulatory clarity. Hedera is perfectly positioned to take advantage of that. That's all we really wanted. And they're talking glowingly about the crypto industry. It looks like they want to make up for some lost time, making the United States a hub, and they want to outcompete some of those other regions out there that have kind of gotten a foothold. The reason why I wanted to do this is I wanted to just give a TLDR so people didn't have to watch the entire thing if you don't have time. Again, I think we're really well positioned and we got exactly what we want, and in the months to come, that's going to start to play out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.